at this point in time, everyone thinks the Justice League is dead, killed by the crime syndicate, who have come from another universe. But after some heroes try to rise up and stop them and fail miserably, like the Teen Titans, even Batman to an extent, but Batman is forced to team up with some villains and invade the Watchtower, where he finds a captured, beat up Nightwing. And while him and the villains are there, the villains accidentally find a hostage, and after freeing the hostage, he says one word and transforms. And let me tell you, this guy is a bigger menace than Ultraman could ever be. Now, my name is AJ, drop a like or even subscribe if you enjoyed, and let's get into it. So we pick up with Ultraman himself looking on at the Watchtower and seeing the giant lightning ball that just got called down, saying those fools, they let him speak. As we cut over to see this mysterious man, who is revealed to be Alexander Luthor, the Lex Luthor of the alternate Earth. And it seems this Luthor prioritized power over intelligence and brains, as he found a way to steal powers from other heroes and villains, as he stole their universe's Shazam's powers, which is just Shazam backwards, Mazaz. So after saying Mazaz, he transforms, then kills Johnny Quick, stealing his speed. And I mean, for the main DC continuity Lex Luthor, I wonder why he doesn't do something similar. Maybe not the whole killing heroes and villains and stealing their powers part, but more of the enhancing your physical body to give you powers, or at least into super soldier tier. But maybe it's just his ego, saying if he's going to win and succeed, he's going to do it as a normal human and not some advanced, juiced up superhuman. And after being freed and transforming, he looks around and sees Captain Cold and Black Manta, two people without powers to directly steal, so he says they're useless to him and flies off. Cutting over, we see Ultraman and Deathstorm talking about how Luthor is free and how divided their team is. Power Ring is dead, Grid is offline and not responding, Owlman is away doing who knows what, and Superwoman is missing. And of course Johnny Quick was killed, so these two talk about how to even stop Luthor. But in the middle of brainstorming, two people arrive in a flash of lightning. It is of course Alexander Luthor and Superwoman. And you might be saying, okay, why would she betray the crime syndicate? Well, it seems Alexander Luthor is the father of her unborn child, as Superwoman values strength above all else. And Ultraman, while strong and an alternate Superman, in the grand scheme of things, his power set is pretty weak and also pretty lame, as kryptonite is his sunlight. He gets powerful the more kryptonite he ingests, and sunlight weakens him. And of course, kryptonite has a limited supply, at least compared to the vast level of solar energy. And you can already tell where this will be heading as the two titans come head to head, with Ultraman saying, I should have killed you, Luthor, I am stronger than you. But Luthor simply saying, you were stronger than me, but that was before Johnny Quick, before Hawkwing, and before Batson. Naming all of the heroes and villains he's killed and absorbed. And as Ultraman literally tries to crush his eyes, saying I'm still stronger, Luthor just calls upon the strength of those he's slain, and in almost a disrespectful fashion, one hit knocking out Ultraman against the side of a cliff, saying, take a nap and I'll be back for you once I absorb the power of your teammates. Basically treating Ultraman as a non-threat. And you know, if you can treat the most powerful person on the crime syndicate as they're not a threat at all, you are someone to be reckoned with. Which means for the heroes and villains, this is going to be no easy task to beat him. And while that crazy battle is going on, we move over to see what Batman and Lex Luthor are doing, with Batman literally choking him out in a pool of his own blood, as Batman thinks he murdered Nightwing. And as you know, Batman is usually willing to die behind his friends and teammates, but never usually push past the line to actually murder someone. As to his knowledge, Nightwing is not coming back, but Luthor still defends himself with his suit, letting off an electrical discharge, shocking Batman back. And with Batman momentarily stunned, he goes over to the Nightwing to reveal what happened. See, Nightwing is hooked up to something called a murder machine, which I'm pretty sure you can guess what it does by the name, but it is tied to his heart, so either the machine would have detonated or Nightwing dies. So instead of killing Nightwing, Luthor simply made him flatline after swallowing a specific pill, but he is going to stay dead if Luthor doesn't give him a adrenaline shot. And as he does, Nightwing's heart starts to beat again, even to Batman's surprise, as Luthor has outsmarted him. And of course, Nightwing and Batman goes into each other's embrace. Suddenly the door blasts open, in which it looks like Grid has appeared, one of the crime syndicate's members, but turns out it is Cyborg, who if you remember it was in pieces and utterly broken, but has been repaired and fixed. And as Cyborg slowly starts to give them the rundown, they decide to part ways, as Cyborg has found the Justice League trapped within Firestorm, which is a whole nother thing and we'll get to it later. But Batman and Catwoman decides to go with Cyborg, while Luthor and Bizarro decides to go help out the rest of the team. And as Luthor finally joins the rest of their little villain team, they look on and watch as Alexander Luthor beats into Ultraman. And as that fight is going on, they also look out and see Superwoman fighting Deathstorm. And as they start to battle, Superwoman gets her lasso around him. Now her lasso is different than say Wonder Woman's. Wonder Woman's is more the lasso of truth. Once it gets on you, you are forced to tell the truth. But this one is called the lasso of submission, meaning once you're touching it or it's around you, you are forced to listen and submit to the person, which arguably is even better than the lasso of truth, as why just have the person tell the truth when you Syndicate tell him to stop altogether, but Superwoman just utters a simple command: I want you to die for my lover, for Alexander, as the other Luthor comes up from behind him, crushing his head and absorbing his power. And because of the immense power within Deathstorm, he explodes, with Sinestro barely having enough time to put a shield around the villains, as Alexander Luthor claims another power set, growing even more powerful. Moving back over to Cyborg and Batman, as they try to rescue and free the Justice League, Cyborg gives him the rundown, saying he found out and crossed paths with Steve Trevor, and that he's been communicating with Martian Manhunter, who is trapped inside Firestorm with the rest of the League. And why is this all important, you might say? Because Martian Manhunter told Trevor that Firestorm's power could be broken by someone with an emotional tie to Wonder Woman using her magical lasso. But unfortunately, Trevor got captured by the Syndicate's secret society, meaning without him, they need somebody else with a strong connection to Wonder Woman so they could break Firestorm's unwilling hold on the League before he literally explodes and takes the entire eastern seaboard with him. And even Batman comments about this, saying Firestorm is glowing brighter and the air itself smells like it's burning, before Martian Manhunter mentally reaches out to Batman, saying if you don't unlock Firestorm now, he's going to detonate. And you know why you're the only one that can do this just as much as I do. As Batman agrees and tells Cyborg to give him the lasso. And with Cyborg being confused, it's revealed that Batman is closer to Wonder Woman than others might think. Even with Catwoman questioning this too right beside him. Cutting over, we finally see Alexander Luthor confront the villain team, with Lex saying he hears Slade mumble some things before his helmet gets obliterated. I mean, are you kidding me? This looks way more than just obliterating his helmet. You can literally see the blood streaks from his face, almost looking like he caved his skull in. And even though it's not stated anywhere throughout the comic, he doesn't show up moving forward from this. So either he took the pain and got away, or he died from this. And after Deathstroke gets laid out for the count, the rest of the villains go up to try and stop him, with Black Manta being the next victim on his list. As Captain Cold then explains to Luthor, the Lex Luthor, what happened and who is this person. As he said a word, which is Shazam backwards, transformed, killed Johnny Quick, and then he was suddenly fast. And then Captain Cold gives him the final piece of information, that he said his name was Alexander Luthor. Which, if you didn't know, Alexander Luthor is the main Lex's real name, but he just goes by Lex for short. And as Lex Luthor finally puts two and two together, he doesn't even have enough time to do anything about it, as in a blur he blitzes forward, punching Luthor across the jaw. But just as it seems it is all over for Lex, Bizarro comes out of nowhere from behind, attacking Alexander, protecting and defending his creator. And as they start the battle, with Alexander immediately confused, saying, "What are you?" But as Bizarro gives it his best, it's unfortunate that his best just isn't enough, as Alexander simply punches him away, saying, "Whatever you are, you have power and I want it," before punching a hole straight through his chest, Homelander style, which in and of itself is no small feat, because here Bizarro is a Superman clone. So while his physicals, such as his strength, durability, speed, etc., aren't on the same level of Superman's or exceeding it, they are somewhat comparable. And clearly this wasn't enough, as Alexander still killed him very easily. And as Bizarro lays down in the field with his chest caved in, literally dying, Lex rushes over as Bizarro wheezes and takes his few last breaths in saying his goodbyes, telling Lex that he's sorry, which this does nothing but continue to anger Luthor, because even though it was just a creature or an experiment gone wrong, it was still his creature, his monster. And as always, Lex will have his last laugh and get his revenge, as even though Lex is technically a villain, he is the protagonist of this storyline, but he will get his revenge in the next episode, as this one wraps up and comes to a close. I hope you enjoyed it, so subscribe if you're new and put on post notifications so you know when I upload a new video, and check out any of the previous parts if you enjoyed this one too. As always, thank you.